Hey everyone, welcome again to Notion Treats. So here we are with another beautiful yet powerful Notion system, or template. It's called Social Media Planner. Before we get started, a quick note. You can find the link to buy this system in the description below. Since this template is built specifically for content creators, studios, agencies, freelancers, or teams who are managing multiple clients or brands simultaneously, it has a unique feature that lets you manage multiple brands in one powerful system, including their content, ad campaigns, analytics, and much, much more. It's very important if you stick around to the end of this video to really see how this system works, and then you will be able to realize, oh my God, why didn't I get this template earlier? Because we have just made it, and we know there is nothing like it available yet. I am confident that this kind of system can help you run your day-to-day operations like a charm. As you can see, it's a really beautiful template, and it's not just beauty, but it also comes with just the right functionality and flexibility a team usually needs. This is the main dashboard of your Notion system, and as I mentioned in the first section, you get to see all the brands or clients you are managing. In the main dashboard, the idea is to give you a quick overview of the most important stuff that is going on. If you want to see the content or anything for a specific brand, let's say if you have assigned a designer for a specific brand only, that designer can go into the brand workspace to be able to just see everything for that specific brand only. And then we have a list of the core hubs on the left side. These are all the databases that are interconnected with each other using relations, and that's how these databases make the complete system work flawlessly. I will try to walk you through each database in detail to show you how you can create pages under these databases and connect them with each other using relations. This is a logic layer called tasks that requires your attention just once when you are creating a new brand in your workspace. So when a new brand is created, all you need to do is to create a new entry under the tasks database and connect that with the brand, and then it automatically calculates your weekly and daily progress, which I will show you in a minute. The cherry on top with Notion Treats is that you always get beautifully designed, custom illustrated assets included with the template. There are more than 65 assets you get with this specific template, including covers for main pages, databases, subpages, icons, and whatnot, which I will show you in this video. So just for demo purposes, I have added some placeholder/dummy brands here, which you can access from the top first section of the main dashboard. When you click on the brands from here, it takes you to the brand workspace, which allows you to manage everything in detail for a specific brand so you don't miss a thing. But let's look into the brand workspace a bit later, because first I would like to walk you through the dashboard for a second and all the databases. So on the dashboard, we have an overview of the most important stuff related to all brands combined. For example, we have a content database view here, ad campaigns, and analytics. These are the three main blocks, but of course, since the template is completely customizable, you can add more database views, for example, hooks and CTAs, or hashtags and keywords, if they resonate with your business better. When you look at the linked database for content on the main dashboard, the first tab is about today, because we believe this helps you plan your day pretty nicely. The system is only showing you the content that is supposed to be done today based on the to-do date property, which you set up inside that content page. We have a publish date as well, so you know when this content is going out, and then we have alerts as well. The Open tab, or View, shows you all content that is not yet complete, but still due maybe today or any other day in the past or future. The Overdue tab gets your attention to the content that was supposed to be completed before today. Sometimes we get so busy in a few tasks in our daily routine that we are not able to complete everything, but this system doesn't let you forget. It automatically calculates and shows you like it's been overdue for 4 days based on the actual to-do date set up for this content while you created it. The Brand tab view of the DB shows you the segregation of the content for each brand, so you immediately get an idea of which content from which brand needs our attention. The This Week tab is also very important to get an immediate understanding about what exactly needs our attention in this week through a calendar view. You can also drag and drop content from one day to another just like that, so it's pretty easy to do these kind of things. Then on the dashboard, we have another linked database for ad campaigns. The first tab is about live campaigns that are running right now. As you can see, the status is set as running. The second tab is about open campaigns. So, as you or your team might be working on them, for example, if they are scheduled or in the setting up phase right now. So, it will display all open campaigns here. The brand tab is just like the one I showed you for content. It gives you a clear idea about the open campaigns separately for all brands. The next and last link database we have on the dashboard is for analytics. So when you create a new page/entry in the analytics database, you can actually name it whatever you want and then link it to a content, ad campaign, and a brand. Because analytics always are linked to either a content or ad campaign, or maybe both. So as you can see inside, you have a selected brand over here, platform, all these metrics, and then in relations, this is the already linked content to show you like, okay, we posted this content on a certain date, which got this many impressions, likes, comments, shares, saves, clicks, follower growth, and even rows and conversion rate. And that's the analytics date for the record. I will show you around like how exactly you can create new entries and link them together. The brand tab is again about the segregation of your analytics based on each brand that is available in your system. And we have a platform view for the analytics because it's also important to understand on which platform a certain content achieved certain results. Okay, so that's mostly it about the linked database available in the dashboard for now. On the left side, you'll notice a placeholder graphic which you can replace with your own agency/studio logo, or you can even remove it to save some space, just like that. Then we have some quick action buttons for creating a new brand. So when you click on this, it will automatically fetch the entire setup of the brand workspace template we have built inside the system. And we'll add your new brand to the brand section here. When you click on the new content button or ad campaign from the main dashboard, you can choose, for example, for which brand you are creating this content or ad campaign. Because you are in the main dashboard, so of course it makes sense to select the brand manually, and same goes for the new campaign button. You can do it through many different ways you are familiar with in Notion already, like from here, here for the content, and here. So if we dive a little deep into the difference of creating new content or campaign from dashboard or from the brand workspace, as I said earlier, it will let you select the brand because the system doesn't know for which brand you are creating this content or campaign. But if you are doing the same from one of the brand workspaces, the system already knows that you are in this brand workspace, and it will automatically select the brand for this content or campaign as the one you are in, which of course you can change later on with a few clicks if you want. So it's a very intelligent system that doesn't let you do obvious things over and over again. So before we talk about the power of the brand workspaces, let's talk about each database available here and the purpose. The first one is the Idea Bank. This is the database where you dump ideas on the go. Like while scrolling your feeds on social media, you sometimes come across unique ideas that immediately let you resonate with your brand or client, and click on Convert to Content button to turn that idea into actual content later. So all you need to do is to just open the system on your laptop, or even mobile, and add an entry. You can of course select a brand, platform, post type. You can select a status here. By default, it will automatically select future reference. For demo purposes, let's try to create a new idea and see how it works. So let's call it Demo Idea. Hit Enter, and it will automatically fetch the custom icon. Select a brand, select a platform, select the type as video, of course, set priority. As I said, it automatically selects future reference as a status, which you can change later. And this property is just to add some additional notes for your own reference. Now let's suppose if you have already discussed this idea with your customer or team, and it's time to convert this idea into actual content. All you need to do is to hit Convert to Content. Now, what it does is it opens up the center peak pop-up from the content database because you're about to convert this idea into the actual content. Like I said in this system, everything is interconnected, which makes it so easy for you to manage one thing from so many places. In this case, we didn't have to go back to the content database and create a new entry, which definitely saves some time and effort, especially when you are managing a lot of content for many brands or clients. As you can see, the brand is already selected, which we selected while creating the idea. We can change it if we want, but the system knows that this idea was meant to be for this brand. You can change the status because the status in the idea bank we selected earlier was for the idea, not for the content. You can also change the platform if you want. Then from the details section, you can choose an assignee, to-do date, which helps us keep tabs on content. The type is already selected, but we can change that too. The purpose? You can add as many as you want. Design copy lets you attach a document. Caption lets you add text. Attachment can be a design or anything else. URL, your own notes. And then this is a very interesting section under each content entry or a page that helps you remember what you or your team has done and what's still pending, which is important before you publish the content. And this list is fully editable as well. So right now, we are at 0%, too bad. And when we start checking off these items, the progress bar shows you where we are. So let's say we check these things off. And we are at 43% now. So this is how you can ensure we have covered everything which was important before publishing the content. Then we have relations because, like I mentioned, to make the system work flawlessly, we need to ensure to establish the right connections. So in this case, we already have some hashtags and keywords in the database for this demo. Let's go right in and link this new content with one of the pages. It's recommended to make sure the brand is visible from here, so you can see which page or entry is from which brand. Now we are talking about a Lenta brand, so we are going to look for the pages from the hashtags and keywords database that are already connected with this specific brand, like this one. Now for the target audience. Again, you can enable the brand visibility from here if it isn't. Let's go ahead with this one. Now let's select one of the hooks and CTAs, or we can also create a new one. For analytics, I would say let's not connect that right now since we are only creating content right now. Analytics makes sense when something is published, so you can link this later on if you want to track analytics for this specific piece of content at some stage. Now, this is also one of the important things when it comes to task relations. It's a logic layer for sure, but when you create a new brand in the system, it's important to just create one task and link that task to the new brand in the task database one. And then you don't need to look at that ever because after that, it just keeps on working autonomously to calculate progress every day or every week. Since we already have a task in the task database for a Lenta brand, let's go ahead and link this content with that task. Now, as we are done adding all important details into this content page while converting the idea to content, we can just click outside the pop-up window. Now let's go back to the dashboard and there you go. We have the demo idea in the content database now. A quick recap. We created an idea in the idea bank, then later we converted that idea into the content. Super easy, right? Now you can see all the settings we just did while creating it here. Now next up with the content database itself, I will not create new content again because what I have shown you just now was the process of creating content if we even do it from here. So in the main content database, there are a few more tabs available for better tracking, like today, open, overdue, scheduled, published, brand, platform, this week, this month, and archived. Similar to what we had on the main dashboard, but in the database itself, we have a few more views tailored towards the possible needs of a studio, agency, or a content creator. Now we have ad campaigns. Just like other databases, you can create a new one, hit enter, select a brand. Let's suppose it's for Instagram. Let's choose a to-do date of today. The time duration can be chosen from here. And we can also select the budget cap, let's say $500. Now you can check out the details by simply clicking on the item/page. Everything is there. We can also select a goal for the campaign here, so of course when you are in the page itself, you always have more properties to look at, since this is the detail view. Just like we did with the content, we can create relations here, like which hashtag and keyword this campaign needs to have. We can also choose the target audience, and then we also link this to a task. And of course there is an analytics relation, but it will make more sense to select that once we have some metrics after the campaign. Now you can see we have the newly created ad campaign listed in the dashboard and everywhere else where we have a linked database for ad campaigns. In the analytics, you can choose whatever name you want for a page that makes sense in your own scenario. But what's most important is to link each analytic with the right brand and content or ad campaign so you know what you are tracking. This is where you add manual entries for all the metrics to be shown here. Now for the hashtags and keywords. Just like every other database, you can create hashtag and keyword ideas here and link them to certain brands, content, and ad campaigns for immediate or future use. In the first tab, you get to see both hashtags and keywords in the same place, but we have separate tabs for each as well, just like here and here. Same idea goes for the filtered by platform view. In the competition tab, you get to see the hashtags and keywords based on their difficulty score. It's actually based on the numbers you place inside the page here. So this is, of course, not an SEO tool. You'll need to use some kind of keyword research tool to get that data and input it here for your reference. The next database we have is for hooks and CTAs. Very similar concept to the hashtags and keywords database I have just shown you. But of course, if you are in the content creation industry, you can immediately tell how important it is to have engaging hooks and CTAs in your social media content. Then we have goals, of course. When you are managing the social media presence of multiple clients' brands, you would need to set up some goals maybe for yourself or for your team to analyze how the content or the brand presence is evolving over time. Then you can sort your goals by brand, status, category, and time frame. The next one is target audience. Again, each brand, content, or ad campaign can be tailored towards a different target audience. You can create as many as you want and even connect multiple target audiences with one brand. Just like the rest of the pages, when you click on the page, you get to see and set up various properties for each target audience. Okay, now we have two very interesting databases that are very closely knitted with each other, and they are for the team and timesheet. Let's first talk about team. It's here to keep track of your team members if you have an in-house or remote team. But in any case, you would of course want your team to be assigned to certain projects and allocate their time on a monthly or weekly basis, right? That's what you can do here. For example, as you can see, we have a designer whose allocated time was 160 hours, but he or she has only spent 130 hours, which means we have a buffer of 30 hours. For the social media manager, we have 120 allocated hours. That person has spent 120, so the system shows aligned in front of it. Then the content writer has 80 hours, but the spent time is 83.5. So we have an alert here for overrun. So that's the overall purpose, tracking your team, their projects, and their time spent, so you can make sure your business is always in profit and you don't have a lot of overtime spent. In the person property, you can choose a user in your workspace and add a manager here. Assign some roles over here. Choose a brand, and then we have the most important part, a connection with timesheets. So here's how it works. When you are done creating a page/entry for a team member in the team database, you need to go to the timesheet database and create a new page or entry for that same user or team member. The name of this page needs to contain three things. The brand name, so you can immediately see for which brand this person is working. Name of the person and the month, because one team member can have multiple timesheets based on the specific week or month you have hired them for. We need to understand this in simple words that if I have hired a designer who is supposed to work for me for a specific brand in September, I need a timesheet for September. But if I want to work with the same person in October, I will need to create a separate timesheet for October as well, because every timesheet has a start and end date to calculate the number of allocated hours. Even in case we have an in-house team, that team is also supposed to have a certain number of hours assigned usually. For example, full-time means 160 hours, part-time means 80 hours, and when the month ends, the timesheet needs to be reset. When you create a new entry or a page in the timesheet, you simply name it as brand, name, and time duration. For example, month or week. And then you can allocate the hours to this person here. Then by the end of the month, or whatever time period that is, the user can enter the total time spent in the hours worked property, and then the system will calculate the balance and print the summary for you to look at. For example, if you have a buffer, overrun, or if it's aligned. Let me quickly show you if Bridget spent 130 hours while her allocated hours were only 120 in September. The summary gets updated here and in the team database as well, because both databases use each other's values to give you clear enough information. So once you are done creating a new team member and their timesheet, it's important to connect the timesheet in the team database. I know it sounds a bit complicated, but you'll get used to it pretty quickly. Now we have another one left called tasks. This database is only used when you create a new brand. You can simply create a task and link the newly created brand with it, and then it does everything else autonomously if you are making sure of one thing, that you are connecting each new content and ad campaign you are creating with the task that is connected with the brand you are creating this content or ad campaign for. Now, as we are done talking about all the databases, now let's talk about the most interesting part, which is the brand workspaces, a completely unique and really thoughtful feature. So when you are inside a brand workspace, you get to see and manage everything related to content, ad campaigns, analytics, and whatnot, but only for this specific brand because you are inside a sort of a folder now where we can only talk or think about specifics. And only now you will be able to see the power of the task database, because as you can see, we have some progress bars in here. So when we create new content, let's say, and we connect that with a task that was created for this brand, it allows the system to calculate how many tasks are in there for this brand, and based on their to-do dates and statuses, it populates these progress bars to show you how far we are from completing our day or week. So as you can see, as soon as we change the status of this task which is due today from in progress to published, it updates the progress bar immediately. And just like that, now we are at 100%. Besides the list of all databases available here, just like on the main dashboard, there are a couple more exciting spaces dedicated to each brand, and they are Brand Strategy and Brand Guide. These are specific to each brand, and you can only access them when you are in that brand's workspace, so they are not mixed up with any other brand. So if we look into the Brand Strategy page, you actually have complete freedom to define this brand or take notes for yourself and your team. So whenever you are working on new content, a campaign, or anything related to this brand, you can always refer to this page to ensure we are following the same strategic approaches. This is all placeholder content, of course, which you can change based on your own needs. You can even add new blocks as well. There is no limit. Just like that, we have Brand Guide page. As a content creator, I am sure you can tell how important it is for the team to follow certain brand guidelines, for example, colors, typography, and you can even upload mood board visuals here. You can also replicate these blocks if you need more. So the possibilities are limitless. Now, as we have gone through everything in the template, it's time to see how we can create new brands in the system. All you need to do is hit any of these buttons here or here, and as you can see, it's loading the entire template that we have built for the brand workspace, including all assets, sections, and logic. And here we are. Let's give it a name. Select collaboration status, add description, choose industry types, again completely customizable. Remove the default logo, and then you can add the actual brand logo here. And that's all about it. Now you can start creating content, or anything for this brand. Now you can see the new brand we just created. We chose the status as planning. So it's not visible in the active brands right now, but you can find it from one of these tabs like here. Our new brand doesn't have a logo as we didn't upload anything, so it shows an empty white space here, which you can of course fill by uploading the actual logo anytime. All right. So finally, now we are done talking about all the databases, their connections, and how to do this and that. We can tell that the system uses multiple interconnected databases like content, ad campaigns, analytics, ideas, hashtags, goals, team, etc. So every part of your social media workflow stays linked, from planning and creation to tracking and reporting. These connections let data flow automatically between brands, campaigns, and tasks, eliminating repetitive work, improving organization, and giving a complete real-time view of all activities for multiple brands in one place. Now the last part, as I promised, I will walk you through all the custom-designed assets you will get, included with this template, including covers, template icons, database icons, page icons, and whatnot. So let's jump into Figma for that. As you can see, there are 65 plus assets. The best part is that each asset is designed for light and dark modes, so you get each asset in two versions. Light and dark. How crazy is that? For example, these template icons for the main dashboard. This one is for the light mode. This is for the dark mode. Same goes for the brand workspace icons. These are the smaller icons for databases and pages. These are the covers, which took a lot of effort and time for us to illustrate, because they are not just beautiful, but meaningful too. That's for the main dashboard. It's for the brand workspace. These are the database covers, and the same in the dark mode, as we have seen most people nowadays, like using dark mode for any tool. You can check the details by zooming in. Let me tell you one thing. No matter what, they will never pixelate or look blurry because you are going to get all these assets in SVG format. Then we have page covers, again for light and dark modes for all possible pages in the template. So when you buy this template, you are not just getting a template, but also these 65 plus assets in multiple file formats to make your template as beautiful as it can get. Wow! That was a long video. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. I really appreciate your time and interest in this beautiful Notion system. If you are interested in buying this template or taking a look at the demo, please follow the links in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or reach out directly. I'm always happy to help. We're working on a bunch of more systems, and trust me, they're going to be just as powerful, if not better. So stay tuned, hit follow or subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.